in entire automation space, we throw a lot of acronyms, a lot of terms out there, all right? And I have to ask my automation guests here to help us to orient, larger audience over there, because RPA, BPM, hyper automation, now IDP, process mining, AI, of course, right? Machine learning somewhere in there, right? So, just a question for you, Tolani. How, for someone who is mildly interested in automation space, where can they start to kind of situate themselves in this complex space of different technologies, methodologies, right? And frankly, yeah, this new space that's evolving.
So it depends on, if we're talking about, let's say, an organization, right? Because organizations can actually promote, some of this, understanding around intelligent automation, which is also known as, hyper automation or digital process automation. Companies can actually help in terms of, citizen development, for example. And this helps, not just anyone from the business, but any other person that's not technical. That's what we call citizen developers. And they're able to, come into that, actually provide a lot of value for companies, deliver, software using low code and all of that. But from a technical perspective, I started from RPI, and now it's almost like RPA is evolving into intelligent automation. So for companies like the financial services, you would see a lot of RPA. And if
Mhm.
you're trying to get into the space, the easiest way would be you have to start with, either RPA, or you start with low code, or you start with BPM before thinking about intelligent automation, right? Because it becomes very complex to assimilate. But the fact is, once you get the idea of what automation is, and the question of what is automation, automation is anything that makes our life easier, right? So we've been using automation for so many years, but once you get into the concept of we're trying to make things easier, then what kind of technologies are in that space? And these technologies get different. I'll be honest with you. You still have your ERP systems that are doing automation of some sort. You have different kind of systems, but the idea behind this is to start, pick a technology and try to understand what a technology. And the funny thing about all these technologies is that they actually have a converging point, and the converging point is intelligent automation. It doesn't really matter where you start from, but
Mhm.
once you understand that technology, you see opportunities that would arise for intelligent automation. But once you start, but you need to evolve with the technology. You need to evolve, and that's what financial services have done. They've evolved with RPA, and they've seen that, okay, there's some challenges with RPA. There are some loopholes with RPA. RPA can do only a certain amount of automation, which is like rule based, and they're beginning to evolve with that. Meaning they're beginning to look at other alternative technologies as well, or complementary technology, as you may call it, and get into that space of intelligent automation, and which is still at its infancy. Like, it's still trying to mature. It's not fully matured space.
Yes, you touched a little bit on low code, no code, right, and citizen developers. So, can we talk a little bit about incorporating low code, no code technologies in the organizations, and what would it take, in your opinion?
So I think low code is a very, it's, I wouldn't even call it a technology. I call it it's almost like a revolution, or it's a movement, right? It's different from the way, and low code has been, the movement has been around for a while,
Mhm.
but the idea behind it then was, you had a lot of low code database and low code programming languages and some of all these things, but it's evolved to the point where, I don't know if you've seen it, but the job market is in a frenzy at the moment. People, most companies have more openings than people are willing to fill those openings, and this also boils down to, sometimes the skill set, and trying to keep, retain talent it's an ongoing issue, and that's where really local really plays a lot of value, because with
Mhm.
low code, companies can actually train, their current workforce, to use this technology to be able to deliver value. And the reason why, local really existed was because of, the traditional IT. So the traditional IT take a while to actually develop a product. This goes through a series of testing, series of development, feedbacks and all of that. So some companies could be looking at, to invest into a technology for 1 to 2 years before they actually start getting a lot of benefit from it. But with low code, actually, companies can start getting a lot of benefit. There's a company, I'm not going to mention the name. They're in Australia, and they've been able to develop like 35 applications. 35 applications within 18 months. And this is all through both professional and citizen development going on in that organization. And they've given power to, like, your as people would like to sell it, your Bob in finance, your Sarah in HR. They've given them, empowered them to the extent that they can actually contribute. They're actually seeing the whole life cycle. And one thing about low code as well is you don't really need to worry too much about mobile application, how this would look on the mobile interface. This is some of the problems with traditional IT, because sometimes they want it to be cross-platform interoperability, but low code actually takes away all of that. They don't really need to know the latest infrastructure, like you're using React, you're using all of this. You don't really need to know any of them, right? All you just need to do is actually use the tool and start delivering business outcomes.